Yes people, what is going on? So today I'm going to show you a full training session that you can do with no equipment needed whatsoever other than a football. So sometimes you have limited access to equipment, but it's important that we stay fit, sharp and ready for a match despite having limited access to that equipment. So how the session is going to go, it's going to consist of a warm-up followed by some quick feet and acceleration exercises, followed by a bit more technical work and a bit of fitness to finish off the session. But yeah, that's enough talk from me. Let's get on with the session. Bosh.
So before you start any training session, it is absolutely essential that you perform a dynamic warm-up. We should always start every session with a dynamic warm-up to get our bodies prepared for the session ahead. A dynamic warm-up is great for increasing our blood flow and range of motion in those muscle groups we're working on throughout the session. Alongside reducing the risk of injury, a dynamic warm-up can also improve our performance. If you've ever gone into a match without doing a proper warm-up, you will notice a massive impact on your performance. So it's important before any match or training session that you complete a dynamic warm-up. So with this dynamic warm-up, set up a starting point and place the ball approximately 5 meters away from you and start off with a few jogs back and forth around the ball. After you completed a couple of jogs, start to incorporate some dynamic stretches into your warm-up. With the dynamic stretches and movements, focus on muscle groups that you're working on throughout the session. It is also important to remember that this is the warm-up, so gradually increase the range of motion in the dynamic stretches and the intensity in the dynamic movements, as we don't want to get injured before the session has even started.
Is it sorry to let you go? You
After a few minutes of going back and forth from the ball and performing those dynamic stretches, I tend to just give myself around 30 seconds to a minute to dynamically stretch any muscles that feel tight. So I tend to get tight hamstrings of both my legs, so always just give myself a bit of time to do some straight leg kicks and ensure they have a good range of motion and that they're ready to go. If you have other muscle groups that are tight, then this is the period to get them stretched out. So after performing a dynamic warm-up, I move on to a few quick feet exercises followed by a few acceleration exercises. This part of the session is still part of our warm-up and gets us used to activating those muscle fibres that we put under continuous load throughout the session. Having quick feet is essential for football. Regardless of your position, you should always look to perform quick feet exercises on a regular basis. Incorporating and performing quick feet exercises into your training will not only just improve your athleticism, but will also enable you to carry out other skills and techniques more efficiently. Look to perform 3 sets of each exercise in the video, with 1 set being 30 seconds of continuous work.
so why is it sorry to let you go?
Following the quick feet exercises, look to perform a few acceleration exercises as well. Being able to accelerate quickly will enable you to get an advantage over your opponents. During a football match, you're constantly accelerating and decelerating regardless of the position you play. You may be an attacker who wants to take the ball past a defender, or a defender who wants to prevent this. The quicker you're able to accelerate, the more effective you'll be at performing these skills. Look to perform 3 sets of each exercise in the video. The sprint should also only be 5 meters long. So after we've completed our quick feet and acceleration exercises, it's time to bring the ball out. The first bit of ball work we're going to be doing is some dynamic ball mastery exercises. Before I start most of my sessions, I like to get the ball out and perform some ball mastery exercises. This gets me comfortable in possession of the ball and gets me used to moving and manipulating the ball in different directions. Also is an opportunity to practice some ball mastery exercises that I'm not so accomplished with, and I know that if I practice them, this will help me in my game. Look to perform 2 reps of each ball mastery exercise in the video. 1 rep is a dribble back and forth from your starting point. Look to make the dribble around 5 meters long. Once you've completed all your ball mastery exercises, look to finish on a bit of a freestyle within a small area. This is so you can really work on moving and manipulating the ball as fast as you possibly can, whilst obviously keeping the ball under control at all times. Don't worry about making any mistakes. This is only training, so really test your ability to get the most out of the session. Look to perform 3 sets of this drill, with each set lasting 30 seconds long. So following on from our ball mastery training, we are now moving into a drill which focuses on our first touch from an aerial ball. So this drill is the aerial touch away and is not only great for working on your first touch from an aerial ball, but also your change of direction as you take the ball away. So for this drill you want to start by juggling the ball, and after about 5 juggles you want to knock the ball up into the air just above head height. You then want to touch the ball away from you, either to your left or your right. Your touch of the ball should only go a few meters away from you as well. You should then look to flick the ball up again and repeat the same process, just taking your touch in the opposite direction. Look to perform 3 sets of this drill, with 1 set being 8 touches away. After we have finished the aerial touch away, we want to practice running with the ball. So for this drill you want to aim to sprint around 20 to 25 metres with the ball. Obviously with this session having no equipment, we do not have any markers, so go for a distance in which you feel is comfortable and is benefiting you. This drill will enable you to work on your acceleration with the ball as well as your ability to run with the ball at speed. When sprinting with the ball, do not just push the ball and run, look to keep the ball close to you and focus on the weight of your touches so you're in control of the ball at all times. Look to complete 3 sets of this drill, with 1 set being 8 sprints. Each sprint should also be followed by 10 seconds rest. So after we've completed our sprints, we want to work on changing direction with the ball. So when practicing dribbling with the ball, it's important to focus on moving and manipulating the ball in different directions. As we all know, football is not only played in straight lines, we're constantly changing direction throughout a game, and it is important to focus on that in training as well. So for this drill, we are essentially just replicating a zigzag drill without the cones or obstacles to turn around. For this drill, you want to look to dribble towards one direction, and after every few touches, you want to turn and dribble in the opposite direction. Look to perform 3 sets of this drill, with 1 set being 8 complete zigzags. Each zigzag should also consist of 4 turns, and each zigzag should also be followed by 10 seconds rest. So to end the session, we're going to be working on some fitness. So this drill is just going to be a straight run back and forth from one point to the other. As you can see, I'm fortunate enough that I've got access to a local park pitch, but if you haven't got the markings of a pitch, look to make the distance around 60 to 70 metres long. So for this drill, regardless of whether you're running with the ball or not, look to work at 75% of your maximum capacity. For this drill, look to perform 8 sets, with 1 set being 1 run with the ball and 1 run without the ball. Each set should also be followed by 30 seconds rest.
So that's a full individual training session that you can do with no equipment required whatsoever other than a football. Like I said beforehand, regardless of whether you've got no equipment at all, it's important that you keep yourself fit, sharp and ready for a match despite having no equipment. But yeah, that's enough talk from me. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. But until next time,